Hello humans, I am coming at you today from my bedroom floor with a glass of wine in my bridal PJs because we're gonna talk all things wedding. But seriously, I wanted to actually sit down, like curl up in our PJs with a blanket and a glass of wine and literally just do like a wedding update and talk about where we're at in this planning process because it's been a ride, my friends, it's been a ride. So it's gonna be like a chatty little video because I feel like all of you guys are like my girlfriends, and yeah, let's just sit down in our PJs and have some wine and talk wedding. So we're just gonna have a little girls' night together. All right, guys? Cheers.
This is real love.
It's fresh. It's fresh. For reference, I'm drinking my favorite wine. It is Provence by the brand Pijou. I just want to give you guys an update on all things wedding. So to start, yes, we're getting married this year. We're keeping the date kind of to ourselves. I don't know why I have like paranoia about putting the date online. I think I'm worried about it being like a little too public, but I will say that it is sometime later this year. So we're kind of chugging along. We started the planning process pretty quickly. We got engaged in November of 2018 and kind of just started the planning process right away. At some point I felt like I was a little bit early, like ahead of schedule, but honestly now I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm barely on schedule. It just kind of catches up to you. So yeah, I don't know. We're chugging along. I don't know what to say. As far as where we are in the process, I have my dress. I found my dress back in February. We had our engagement party. My parents drove down from my hometown. So they were in town. We went dress shopping, handled all that. I've done no fittings so far. Supposedly the dress is actually supposed to be shipped out from the designer in 2 weeks, no, next week. I just looked back at the email earlier today. So it's supposed to be shipped out from the designer next week, which means it'll arrive in San Francisco in a couple weeks so I can start fittings, which is great. It means I gotta cool it on all of the sodium because I'm bloating up like crazy. I'm not gonna give up wine though, I'm sorry. Other things, I asked my bridesmaids like way back in January, so we've got the whole crew. I have 7 bridesmaids. We have almost all of our vendors. We just confirmed the last couple. We just confirmed our florist, which is Annie from Ida Blooms. So that's our florist. And then we also just confirmed our officiant, which is really awesome. That one was a little bit tricky, trying to find someone that could do our date. And then we have our photographer and our videographer, both of which are crazy talented. I'm really excited. I'm super picky with photos. So for me, picking the photographer was probably like one of the biggest challenges because yeah, my whole life is photos. I mean, when you blog, yeah, my whole life is photos. So I was pretty picky with that. Who else do we have? Our venue. I announced our venue on the blog, so I can leave a link to that blog post down below, but we're getting married at the Julia Morgan Ballroom in San Francisco sometime later this year. If you know me in my real life, you know this, but we will be having a like what I like to call a multicultural wedding. So when you think about the style of our wedding, it's gonna be like half American wedding and then half Russian style wedding. And if you don't know what that is, there are 3 components to a Russian wedding. Let me break it down for you. 3 components and they're crazy, okay? 1, you gotta be able to party until like 2 a.m. 2, you gotta be able to have Russian vendors. Really what that means is you need to be able to have some Russian food and you need to be able to potentially have a Russian band, like music. Number 3, which is the most complicated out of everything, is you have to be able to have hard alcohol on the tables. So like handles of vodka on your table. Like you walk in, there's no bar. This, not a situation. Hard alcohol, shots of vodka on the table. So I would say that throughout this process, there's just been some challenges because throwing a Russian wedding is a whole different beast. And that in and of itself has just been a puzzle. So we will be having Russian food. We'll be doing most of our food through Julia Morgan itself. So like we'll have a cocktail hour and main dishes and all that stuff. But then we're actually doing Russian appetizers, which I like some of them. I like most of them. I'll be fair. I like most of them. They're a little heavy on the mayonnaise, but they're really heavy on the carbs, which I approve of. It's just gonna be a party. It's gonna be a different kind of party than you ever thought of. As far as our bridal suite, we'll actually be staying at the Omni Hotel, which is right across the street from the Julia Morgan. It's an absolutely beautiful hotel. I'm really excited for that. I would say that what I've been surprised about is how many little details there are that like you don't notice when you go to someone else's wedding and maybe you don't think about, but it's like every little piece of that day is so scheduled and so thought out. Like you have to have a timeline like down to the minute, literally down to the minute. So we hired a month of coordinator. Her name is Jackie from Milk and Honey Events, and she's on top of her shit. So I'm really excited about that. I feel like she's just gonna like come in, handle it all, make sure it's all good and taken care of so I don't have to worry about it because I will be a ball of stress. But yeah, there's just so many like little moving parts to it, little pieces that I never thought of. Like, what does the pillow look like that the ring is gonna be brought down on, you know? Picking out a guest book. What is that guest book even gonna sit on? What does that table look like? Does it need a floral arrangement? Like, just all these little things that I had never ever noticed before. I can't. Okay, a couple of you had asked me questions on Instagram, like literally a couple of you. I didn't post it very long ago, so that's my bad. Okay, so one of them was, my wedding is about a year away from now. Is it too early to start planning? LOL. No, it's not too early to start planning. I definitely started planning pretty quickly. I think a really useful tool for me was actually going on the Knot and looking at their planning timeline. I didn't use the Knot for everything, but I thought their timeline planning was really helpful. So when you go on there and create an account, they actually will like list out for you how far in advance you really need to be, you know, doing your save the dates and your invites and picking your florist and talking to officiants and, you know, listening to all the different band options. Like, that's the stuff that they really can help you nail down. And there are things that they definitely list a year out. Some of the things that I would say, like save the dates, you don't really need to have mailed out until like 6 months before. Invites, you don't really need to send out until like 4 months before. Your dress, depending on the style of the dress and the designer that you pick. Some of them, like Beholden, are super quick and really they're perfect for, you know, the bride that doesn't want to have to do something a year in advance. But the designer that I ended up going with for my main dress, like my main ceremony dress, that was like, you know, I bought that in February and I haven't even, it's May, the end of May now, almost June, and I haven't even like done a single fitting. So some of that stuff needs to be done well in advance. I don't know, for me, I wanted to start a bit earlier so I could like book the vendors I cared about the most. I didn't want to have to, I wanted to be the one that reserved them, you know? I wanted the first pick. And when it comes to the most important thing, which is really like where you're getting married and when, I really think that stuff needs to be coordinated about a year out. Like, yeah, venues book up. It's pretty insane. Honestly, it's pretty insane. And I figure if I get all this done early, I can then eventually relax and do the bachelorette. And then the other question I wanted to answer was, what have the good and bad surprises of planning been? I would say that the good surprise has been how fun it actually is for me to plan the party. I've really enjoyed, you know, kind of being able to think about my aesthetic and his aesthetic and who we are as a couple and like our mood. Let's be honest, it's really just my mood. But anyway, I've had fun doing that, like picking out the invitations and making sure that that like was really coordinated with the website, and then that like leads into the flowers. Like, I want to tell a story sort of with what the party is and the aesthetic of it. I want you to leave and have like an emotion, a vibe, and like get the mood. I think the biggest surprise, two big surprises. One, the cost. Every single thing is jacked up price-wise just because it has the word wedding incorporated into it. Like your food, your alcohol, your flowers, your music, your photography, your videography, like all those things are just that much more expensive because you're getting married. The cost is just astounding. So honestly, like anywhere you can save, dear Lord, like pick your places because it's just so expensive. So that I think was a shocker for both of us. We knew that weddings were pricey, but I don't think we had any idea just how expensive that would be. And then the other thing I would say is that like, I don't know that I realized I would be quite this stressed, and I don't want to exaggerate too much because I am enjoying the process, but I would say there's like an underlying level of anxiety, and it's not about getting married. I'm actually really excited to be married. I like couldn't pick a better partner, really excited for that stage of our life. But what is the most anxious to me is sort of the expectation, and this like expectation that it has to be perfect, it has to be the best day, nothing can go wrong. I want to make sure, my problem too is like, I want to make sure everyone else is happy. Like, is my mom happy? Is his mom happy? Are our friends happy? Is everyone having a good time? Like, I'm almost so worried about everyone else that I think sometimes that causes a layer of stress for myself. So that has been a little bit surprising because I kind of thought it would be like, yeah, rah, rah, romantic, you know, boom, sparkles, Valentine's, hearts everywhere, hard eyes. Like, I just thought it would be this really romantic thing, and honestly, it's just not sexy. Like, planning a wedding is the least sexy thing you could do together. It really is. There's nothing that is was really that romantic about this process. So I think like the advice I've been given is just the day of makes up for it, and that is romantic, and that all your planning pays off and you do get those hard eyes that day of. So I'm just hoping it's like that, because honestly, like, it's like tactical, not romantic. I don't know. So to finish off, a little touch base on my bachelorette. I'm super excited about my bachelorette, really excited about that. It is far too far away. My batch is actually in the fall. It is later on in the year, it is in the fall. We will be going to Disneyland. Disneyland, I'm very excited. This is the max amount of partying that you'll see me do. I don't take shots. I don't really like hard alcohol unless it's in a good French 75 or a good margarita. I could deal with a margarita. I don't know, I didn't wanna like party that way. I didn't wanna go to the clubs. I'm not trying to go to the club. Don't like a loud bar, don't like any of that, but what I do like is a good theme park. So we're gonna go to Disneyland. There will be like 13 of us, so it's a good solid amount of people. And my mom is coming, which I'm really excited about. My mama is the cutest little thing. I took her to Disneyland when we did the Create and Cultivate conference. We went to the LA Create and Cultivate back in 2016. It's been a few years now. So yeah, mama's coming with. I'm really excited about that because she is definitely my BFF for life, and it's gonna be good. We rented a house, so did like an Airbnb style situation. Has a pool. I've got some bagel pool floaties. That's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. And I was gonna talk in this video about some of the stuff that I've bought, so like our custom neon sign and our guest book and things like that, but honestly, we've bought a lot of stuff. I think it could kind of get out of hand and make the video really big, so I'm gonna end it here. I think I'm going to do that in a separate video. Let me know in the comments below if that's interesting to you. I can show you kind of like all the vendors that I've been buying from, whether that's like Etsy shops or these cute PJs, just stuff like that, you know? Stuff to kind of give you that bridal wedding vibe. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I really like just kind of sitting down and chatting with you, getting casual, having that girl talk. And I hope that you subscribe to my channel, join the Bagel Babe family, and I'll catch you in the next little wine girl talk video. Cheers! Bye guys. Cheers, bitches.